When it comes to men and pornography, society shouts, "It's bad, don't do it," but they never give any real solutions. Ruthie Lengeman, author of the book To Kill a Lion, helps to free Christian men from the nagging grip of sexual lust through heart changes, not just behavior changes.
Hello, welcome to the show. We are Suzanne and Jim Cheeseman, and we're talking to authors Bruce and Ruthie Lengeman, and they wrote the book To Kill a Lion. Bruce actually did the words, but Ruthie was definitely the inspiration behind it, right?
That's right.
I'm glad that you guys are here. Today we're going to be talking almost about pornography part 2. We did part 1, but this week we're going to delve into really, truly how pornography breaks down relationships as couples, and that's why I'm so glad that Ruthie's joining us today.
Well, we're excited about that. Yes.
Yeah.
So
when you talk about how pornography is really more than dishonoring, it's really breaking down the very basics of what relationships are. Can you kind of start out and lay the foundation of that?
absolutely. Pornography violates any kind of immorality, violates everything that a marriage was created to be, and healthy relationships was created to be. And honestly, I'm not talking like spiritually. I'm not going to quote you verses. I'm talking about physiologically. It is, the whole point of marriage is that there's a oneness that comes between a husband and wife. And it's interesting because when I do weddings, I talk about the glorious part where I say, I pronounce you husband and wife, you are one positionally. But the real difficult part is becoming one spiritually and emotionally. Okay, that's the hard part, the experiential part, not just the positional. And so when it comes to pornography, it's the two becoming one. It says the two become one flesh.
Right.
And when a married man takes the sexual experience, takes it outside of marriage, there is always something that happens that deters from the intimacy, the oneness that God has designed. But I always start with the premise, and this is the most important point, that the way God designed sexuality for a man and for a woman, the way I am physiologically created is exactly what Ruthie needs and wants. And the way Ruthie is created physiologically and sexually, biologically, is exactly what I, as a man and a husband, need and want. The difficulty there is so few ever get to that place of intimacy that they never discover that there is something that in our marriage conferences we call the intimacy, the sexuality between a husband and wife, we call it worship. And, it creates a lot of jokes, and especially when we're singing songs at the beginning of the marriage retreat. But it's a place where our sexual life represents and is a mirror of everything else that happens in our relationship, in our life. It's a mirror for that. So God made it good. And when we take that out of bounds, we create neural pathways in our brain that give us an appetite for something other than our wife. And that's why
it makes it normal, right?
Yeah.
Those pathways are developed to where that's what's now normal.
That's right. That's right. And so that's why I say lust is a drug. And I know we addressed that in former broadcasts, but lust is a drug. It's no different than crack cocaine or heroin or anything else, that there is a place that you think you can control it, it will control you. But in the marriage relationship, I am attracted to Ruthie. My sexual thoughts are sexual thoughts of the deja vu I have with her, not with some lady on the screen, because I don't have those pathways in my brain that lead me toward another woman. And so Ruthie is, she's hot to me all the time, if I can say it that way. She is my deja vu. And for her, that makes her feel a safe place.
Ruthie, I kind of want to jump in there because I know that you counsel and work with a lot of women who are, I want to say, when I say the victims of pornography, I don't mean that they were actually in the pictures or anything, but they're the spouses of the people who are experiencing pornography. And I think on the surface, it's easy to say, well, yeah, we feel bad because we're never going to look like that or whatever, but it goes a lot deeper than just feeling bad or feeling insecure. Like, what are these women saying to you?
One of the biggest things is that pornography is the other woman. It's like they're having an affair all the time.
Oh, geez, I got goosebumps.
And the wife knows it, and she feels like she has no say in it. So she's saying, okay, tonight or this morning or while I was gone, my husband's going to be with another woman or multiple women, and I'm not okay with that.
Wow.
So for a woman, Ruthie, who connecting to her husband, how can she do it with excitement and with emotionalizing when she feels like, how does she feel?
It actually drains a woman's desire to be sexually with a man, or sometimes even emotionally with him, because if he's not giving himself totally to her, he's giving it to other women by movies or magazines or whatever. She says, no, I'm giving him my whole self, but he's not giving me his whole self. So for a woman, and we talked about it before, that exclusivity of being the only one for her husband is so violated many, many times. She feels she has to do the act because she's married, but there's no heart in it.
She's just one of many.
She's one of many, and she feels and she knows it's not supposed to be that way, but she feels like she's dealing, like Bruce said, with an addict, and she can't change that addiction. He has to make that choice, and when he doesn't, she's basically victim to what he's doing.
So she's competing all the time.
She's competing all the time. She knows it, and she says, I can't win, but I don't want to divorce him or I don't want to leave him, but her whole spirit goes dull. Her whole emotions for him go dull, and then it touches every other area of life. Security, excitement together, being able to be free. He is not a safe place for her heart. Anything she wants to share, she's always wondering, does he even care about me? Because he gives himself.
I'm not enough, right?
I'm not enough. I'll never be enough. I won't look good enough. I'll be getting older. All these women stay young, or they get, pictures of young women, and it's a competition that they know they'll never win until he gets out of that.
And then doesn't that also kind of feed into that cycle? Because if the woman feels bad about herself, and that obviously lowers the level of intimacy in the act with the husband, then that would also lower the desire the husband has for the wife.
It's a cycle then.
I mean, that becomes a cycle, right? I mean, then that leads them back into the pornography. And once again, it just seems that it just creates a cycle there, and it just has to stop.
It's actually opposite of what's supposed to happen between the oneness of a husband and wife. Right. And when you said it's a cycle, it is actually a vicious cycle, because it throws all the going after each other. It throws it all out of whack. And all of a sudden, it's not the circle of love. It's all kinds of spikes that are out of control. And what they want in each other, they wonder why they can't have it. But it's because it's being slowly destroyed through pornography.
Wow. Well, I think this is a good time to take a break. And then we're going to come back on the other side. Bruce, I want you to talk about how we're actually giving God the glory when we're staying away from that, when we become a new person. Would you mind touching on that?
I sure would.
Okay, great. We'll be right back.
Why do so many of the Christian sexual purity programs miss the point? They're ineffective. They say, don't do this, don't think that, don't go there. Hey, it's good not to act out immorality of any form. But guys, that won't solve your problem. Many of these programs make you feel as if your highly sexual nature is your enemy. Just battle it all your life. Not me, guys. If you struggle with lust, you need to get to the root of the problem. My book, To Kill a Lion, Transforming Your Life Through Sexual Freedom, breaks into the control room of the heart where lust originates and shows men how they can overcome sexual addiction at the root. And guys, God made men sexual. I never want to be unsexual, but God made us to be sexual and pure. Maybe you never thought there was a place that you could actually want to be pure and still enjoy being sexual. I'll show you how to find that place. Click the link below and check out To Kill a Lion.
Welcome back. And as you just saw, an ad for the To Kill a Lion book, and it's available in so many great places. Jim, do you want to speak to that?
It's available on Amazon.
Yes, and then
also at tokillalion.com, where all the other places it's available too. But you can read the first chapter at tokillalion.com, and you can see that link, which is like right down there. I think right down there at tokillalion.com. You can read the first chapter for free. You can watch more episodes of the show that we have here, and you can learn more about what we're talking about, and you can order the book at tokillalion.com.
Yeah. Bruce and Ruthie, thank you again for being here. We want to talk about, continue the conversation about how pornography is ruining marriages. And we had a chance to speak to Ruthie about feeling like a woman is never enough when it's the spouse, when it's the husband, or, doing pornography. And I want to speak to now about the fullness of God. And, you've said before that the full glory of God is building a relationship, and that can't have other people involved in that relationship, right? Would you talk to that?
Mm-hmm. Would you maybe start out and say, how is your heart, your spiritual heart, connected to me? That how does that affect sexually?
When I feel like free in the Lord, and also free in Bruce, because his exclusivity is towards me, the whole desire to please Bruce, to be one with him, is what the Lord intended from the very beginning. He set it up so perfectly. So when that is going on and we both feel safe with each other, the biggest part is that we are following God's principles, following his way of doing things, and then it helps to just flow. And there's a fun and a freedom and a desire, because we're following the way God set it up, and his way is perfect. And we found that out, that when we give glory to God in other things, then that comes back together. Even with our own intimacy between each other, we are still glorifying the God in that worship together.
Yes, and I'll talk a little bit about emotionalizing on that. What does emotionalizing mean? I think a lot of people don't understand that. But from a woman's standpoint, what does emotionalizing mean?
I'm not sure quite where you're going.
Yeah, just how you are free to emotionalize me because of the freedom that you have.
Oh yes, because I feel connected to Bruce, and I feel he's connected to me. There is something in a woman that says, I can't wait to give myself to him. I tell Bruce a lot that because he waited till marriage to have me in any way, I think of that all the time, and we've been married 44 years.
Wow.
And it is because he saved all his sexuality for me after we got married and made that commitment to me. And so I know all these years that the commitment is that he wants to hold me body, soul, and spirit. Because of that, I get so excited to say, I'm going to give my whole self to him, because I know he's wide open to me. Every woman wants to feel the husband is accepting her the way she is, and that she's enough. And that causes our emotions to want to be enveloped by his emotions. And so it's actually a wonderful way to live life, because you feel emotionally secure and even excited to give to your husband.
It's all tied in. Yeah.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
I
it's all
could just
tied
point
in.
out what she said in answer to your question. She said body, soul, and spirit. And you see, pornography is just body. That's all it is. You are divorcing yourself from what makes sexuality satisfying. And if you don't have body, soul, and spirit, then what you're doing is you're just creating an appetite for something that is unfulfillable, unquenchable, a bucket with holes. That's why the average pornography session is like 70 pages. Okay, because you're seeking to have a thrill. And when there's that connection, that godly connection of, like, for example, the way Ruthie emotionalizes me, it's just not the act, it's just in the act, I always feel loved. I always feel that she's excited, not just about sex, but about me. And that's because there's a safe place in her life. She's safe with me.
She's not sharing you with anybody.
No.
You know?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That is tremendously important. I think I'm just going to say, I think men can put in compartments. I can't say the word, but they can put it in compartments. And for us, it's so tied into emotional that, like Jim was saying, I mean, if we don't feel safe and if we don't feel, it's a cycle that we're not going to want to give our bodies to you because we don't feel safe emotionally,
And I used to feel like it's only the woman who needs to feel emotionally safe. And that's what's been taught. For men, it's the act, for women, it's the emotions. But we have found through the years that Bruce loves to be loved emotionally as well as physically. And like he said earlier, too, that he knows that I love all of him and I want to be together with all of him. And I found out that men have emotions too. In their acceptance from the wife, it frees them up to totally give themselves. When there's pornography involved, a woman doesn't want to emotionalize him because he has violated her emotions. So therefore, she keeps back herself, sometimes not even consciously. It can be an unconscious pain that she carries and she doesn't even know how to talk to him about it. And so I would say the emotion towards a man is every bit as strong. It's just women talk about it and men don't talk about it.
That's really a good point, Ruthie. Thank you for sharing that.
And
that's huge.
I've shared, I mean, on what she said right there, how huge it is. The clarification is that, and I said this on another one video that we did, but I'll say it again because it's important. That what she just revealed there is that for a man, the orgasm is the climax. But for a woman, the orgasm isn't necessarily the climax. The climax is the whole experience.
The whole experience. And our experience is how we are treated all day long, how we are accepted and emotionalized, touched, words that are said to us, respected. That whole day experience makes us so excited to give ourselves to the man in the evening or whatever time. But if it was cold all day, emotionally, and if he didn't even notice that I was there, or if he goes off to work and doesn't care if I see him or not, comes home from work and goes and sits down and reads the paper or watches TV or whatever, the hurt, the real hurt inside of a woman's emotions says, well, let's just go to sleep tonight. Let's just go to sleep tonight, and doesn't want to do anything else.
Disconnected.
Yeah.
Disconnected, absolutely.
So I was on a 3-day prayer retreat, out in the mountains, and Ruthie was with my daughter. Well, I called her 3 or 4 times a day. We connected during that time. It wasn't like I was away and I forgot about her. Though I was away, she felt that she was the most important person. Well, my birthday was this past weekend, and I came home. Well, I had a wife that wanted to make sure I was happy sexually.
Happy birthday, Bruce.
And it worked.
It's one of your gifts.
We might as well just go right to the jugular here. You know what I mean?
Right. So let's move
I'm not
into.
safe, Suzanne. I'm not safe.
No, I'm just laughing because Jim's birthday was last week.
Okay, all
and I
right.
took him to dinner. So.
Well,
Sorry, babe.
It depends what you mean by took him to dinner, you know?
No, I mean it by the literal sense. So
Yeah.
let's just move on past that. You can see all of a sudden he got sad. He's looking down.
I went to the gun range. But anyway.
Okay, so yes, you know, I want to end on what is God's plan for man and wife? What is a perfect sexual, emotional, connected relationship like, and what does pornography do to that? And I know that's a huge boulder, but I think if we can kind of wrap it up and put it in a few paragraphs, you know, I want to hear what is God's perfect plan for us as a husband and wife.
Yes. You want to go first?
No, you go.
Okay. Well, that again, you said that's a big question, and I will think it's a summary of some of the things that we've said here, and that is that there is a oneness that happens. I mean, even the warnings in Corinthians, you know, if you join yourself to another woman, you know, you've become one flesh. There is something about becoming one flesh that means we become one unit. And his plan is that it would be that sexuality would just be the celebration of spirit, soul, and body. And it's that when I was in college and I was under training to be a marriage counselor, when I was studying for the ministry, and the instructor we have was a great instructor, and he would say this. He'd say, sex at night with a woman begins with a goodbye kiss in the morning.
Amen.
And so it's the whole package and the whole culture that you develop. Now, does it take discipline? Absolutely, it takes discipline. Because sex is not like a substance addiction where you can say, oh, I'm going to put aside alcohol. I'm going to put aside crack cocaine. I'm going to put aside and then divorce yourself from it. No. The whole challenge of your sexuality is learning how to steward something that's good. And that creates a whole different dynamic because my sexuality is good. And it's learning not to fight it like a substance addiction, but on the other hand, knowing that I have a garden and this is my garden and you can only enjoy anything so much. So why not enjoy it with your wife? And when you know that plan that God has, then marital sex can be every bit far more, should I say, fulfilling than just a hot time here and a hot time there. Do you have any answer to that?
The oneness that, and I say oneness because God's plan, making a couple one, is so fulfilling emotionally and sexually for Bruce and emotionally and sexually for me, that when they open up to the addiction of pornography and other women and just opening themselves up to someone else, they break that beautiful experience, but lifestyle between a husband and wife, which the exclusivity is that it's only meant for husband and wife. And when it goes outside of that, it breaks the perfection of what God set up. It breaks the perfection of he knew the right way. He knew what was right. And when we try and make it right in our own way, we always mess it up.
Always.
Because we always, that oneness is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful expression between Bruce and I, always.
Yes.
Always. So.
Well, I think that is a great place to start to wrap up. I mean, what I'm going to take away is, I mean, so much, but it breaks the perfection. It breaks the perfection.
Can I make one more comment?
Please do, yes.
He said here, a woman, sexual drive, a woman is attracted to strength. A strength of character. She's attracted to a husband that she knows going to make the right decision and not compromise, and that she can flow and know that there's a safe place. So I often say to men in my men's set conferences, I said, you know, it is okay to be weak. King David was weak, but we're not allowed to be weaklings. That's where the difference comes in. Yeah. And for a woman, when a man can't control himself with pornography, She is not drawn. When I'm weak, Ruthie's drawn to my strength of being weak, but she would not be drawn to me if I was not able to control myself with pornography, because
Absolutely.
that's a weakling that
That's
a
a
woman
weakling.
would not be attracted to.
Yeah.
That's a
Wow.
great difference there that you're
Wow.
pointing out.
That was a profound show. That was amazing. Thank you so much. I mean, there's so much to take away from that. Ruthie digging deeper into how a woman feels, talking about broken perfection. A man being weak and vulnerable is actually very sexy and attractive to a woman, but being a weakling is not. Yeah, thank you so much. I guess we just want you to revisit the website, tokillalion.com. It's an amazing book on so many levels. And if you think, well, I've got a pornography problem, I can't break it, I've tried everything. If you haven't gotten this book, I can honestly say you haven't tried everything. So.
And remember, even if you have not actually been troubled by the actually going to the websites or the magazines or those kinds of things, but if you do find yourself having the kind of thoughts, inappropriate thoughts, thinking about other women inappropriately, then you also, then you're a master suppressor, as Bruce has mentioned before too. So, and he covers that in the book as well.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting reading. It shows you the godly way, and it doesn't preach at you, or it doesn't tell you put on blinders or those kinds of things.
Right.
It really shows you how to get into alignment with God, so you can truly enjoy your sexuality without having to fight it or put it down.
We like the book a little bit, Bruce and Ruthie.
Yeah,
just a little bit. We're a little bit
both gotten
fans.
a lot out of
Yeah.
it, so.
Thanks for joining us this week, and we'll touch base again with the next show. Thanks so much.
One more thing, also.
Oh, yes.
One more thing.
My new book, which
Yes.
is Come Alive to Her Heart, a challenge for married men on emotionally connecting, has everything to do with the plan of God for sexuality between a man and a woman. How a man can be emotionally connecting is going to create a very nice atmosphere.
Bruce, would you say the new book, would that be a sequel to Kill a Lion? Would it be like something you would read in addition to it, after it,
Absolutely.
before it?
Definitely. Yep.
Okay. We will put a link to that also. We'll make sure that is also in the show notes down here below on the YouTube video, and also we'll link to it from To Kill a Lion. And I tell you what, the first printing of that book, it disappeared amazingly quick, and we just got a new shipment in, right, Bruce?
Yep, that's right. Yep.
Okay, so you better hurry if you want that book, because
it's
the
flying.
first one went really quick. So go to Amazon, find that one, and the name of it again, Bruce?
Come Alive to Her Heart, a challenge for married men on emotional connecting. Come Alive to Her Heart.
Okay, so we find that one on Amazon, and go quick, because the first printing went quick.
It did.
So maybe by the time you see this, we'll be on the third or fourth printing. So anyway,
that'd be great. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining Bruce on the show, To Kill a Lion. Please feel free to visit tokillalion.com to purchase books, schedule Bruce to speak at your event, and find all kinds of resources. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a single episode.